Hey, Reviews Dunn. Who's giving you a dose this week?
How's it going, Mr. Morrow? Longtime fan.
Hey, thank you so much, Derek. Nice to see you.
Yeah, going all the way back to late night watching Northern Exposure in third and fourth grade. Showing my
Dig
age here.
that. I love that, man. I love that. I mean, that's young, you know. I mean, that's what's so cool about that show is it could appeal to so many ages and socioeconomic places and highbrow and lowbrow. So the fact that you were in third or fourth grade and you were digging that show, that's really cool.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Gray House.
Sure.
All right, so the Gray House tells the Civil War from an unusual vantage point, including Confederate Richmond, where espionage and quiet resistance mattered as much as open conflict. So looking back at your career, I mean, everything you've done from the stage to television to film, what was the one thing that immediately drew you to this version of history?
Well, I mean, first of all, I didn't know anything about this, quote, female spy ring and how influential they were on the outcome of the war. That was fascinating. So as soon as I started to key into that, I was just like, whoa, how come no one's ever seen this story before? You know, and then this guy that I played, Judah Benjamin, um, first Jewish senator from the South, no less, plantation owner slash slave owner Jew. Like there were so many contradictions that I just was like, what, couldn't get my head around. And got really interested in one of the great gifts of doing these historical pieces is they become a license for you to educate yourself or for me to educate myself. And so I got to go into all this research and learn about this time and these women. And it's so rare that you have a female perspective on the Civil War. So it was just a great opportunity.
So without giving anything away, how would you describe your character's role in the machinery of power that this series explores over 8 episodes?
Well, he becomes basically the secretary, if he goes from being a Jewish senator to becoming the Secretary of State, quote, the brains of the Confederate government. He's charged with the logistics and operational aspects and the diplomatic aspects of representing the Confederate government. And so he was very integral into what was going on. He was basically Jefferson Davis, played by the great Sam Trammell, right hand. And for good or bad, really instrumental in how things played out. Ironically and interestingly enough, he's one of the few characters that made it out, that got out, ended up in Europe, and flourished, as a barrister there, and had lived to an old age. So there's a lot going on.
So pardon the pun, but I think in my opinion, the storyline lives in moral gray areas, loyalty, self-preservation, and compromise. As an actor, what questions do you have to answer for yourself to fully understand your character?
So say it again.
So the story lives in moral gray areas,
Right.
loyalty, self-preservation, and compromise. As an actor, what questions do you have to ask yourself to fully understand this character?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always questioning where are my loyalties and my integrity. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have success in this business, you're constantly things are dangled in front of you that may not fulfill your idea of integrity, but they fill your bank account, and so I can relate to that for sure. And so I'm constantly I believe in kind of rectitude. There's moral integrity. I want to be a moral character, and so I'm always questioning. Am I doing that? Am I being the best person I can be? But the interesting thing is, I think a lot of people do that, and their perspective on what they're doing is is determined by their socioeconomic, upbringing, and history. So many of these characters, we're taught not to judge them when we put in acting school. You don't judge them. So even if you're doing something that's wrong, like I completely 100% against slavery, right? But if I'm playing someone who believes that slavery has some kind of value in this world, I have to kind of get into that mindset. And so how do I justify that as a character is it's fascinating, and you end up learning a lot.
So being a cinephile myself, one of the things that I always love about a limited series or a television series is when you have one director as the focal point for the entire series run. And in this series, Mr. Ronald Joffé directs all eight episodes. So how did his vision work for you as a tone across the entire series?
He was everything. Roland Joffé, third time I've worked with him, and he's a master, a dying breed of a filmmaker. Epic Academy Award winning, nominated, efforts such as The Mission and The Killing Field. Um, he Roland is fluid in every aspect of filmmaking, from the acting to the visuals to the text. um, this piece stands on his talent. I mean, there's a lot of people that went into it, and Leslie Greif was the kind of catalyst force, but Roland is the master who brought it to fruition. And the thing about, to your point about having one director for all eight episodes, there's a consistency, and there's a comfort that sets in. A kind of you get used to the way people work, and Roland is someone you can put your hands in and trust as an actor, and it's not that often that we're in that. We always have to kind of look at our, guard ourselves, make sure we're being taken care of, make sure we're not doing something that we don't feel is going to be good. But Roland Joffé is, I can't say enough. I could literally fill up the whole time talking about how extraordinary he is and how grateful I am to have worked with him now three times.
And so before I let you go, I got to bring up a quiz show because I just went to Sundance for the first time. Cross went off my bucket list. So what do you recall about just being on the set with the late great Mr. Robert Redford when he shot Quiz Show back in '93?
Yeah, man. I was just at Sundance too. And it's sad because it's the last Sundance in Park City, and it's coincidentally the year that Bob passed away. So it's like an age coming to an end. It feels like. I mean, Sundance has been going on for close to 40 years, I think. And so uh, Robert Redford became a mentor to me and a friend, and I learned so much from him. To you talk about watching, say, Northern Exposure when you're in third or fourth grade. Well, I saw, Butch Cassidy or The Sting when I was, somewhere in around the third or fourth grade or fifth grade or something. And so then to all of a sudden be in a room with him, and then to be friends with him, and then to be, when he cast that show, quiz show, he cast me early on, and then he would have me come in and read with different people for different parts, and then so he would play the other parts. So all of a sudden I'm acting with Robert Redford, and he's making these movie star faces that he makes on screen at me, and it was just like one of the great gifts, because it's kind of like what I said about Roland. Bob knows what he's doing. Like, so I could trust, if he said, nah, do that, do this, I didn't have to second guess him. Um, but it was a dream come true. I mean, again, I could do another hour and a half easily on Bob.
All right, sir. Well, audiences are in for a treat with the Gray House, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to chop it up with me.
Thanks, Derek. I hope you, did you see the show?
One episode.
Okay, well, I hope when you dig it, because it's really profound and it's really entertaining. And what's so cool is it speaks to the times we're living in a way that you can't imagine. I mean, it's a Civil War piece, but it speaks to what we're going through in this country right now. So,
Very cool. All right. Thank you again, sir.
all right, man, peace.
Bye.
Hey, what's up? This is Ludacris.
What's up, y'all? This is Nicki Minaj.
You're rocking with the best. It's Reviews and Done.